Hello friend, welcome back to Toyota Maintenance YouTube channel. Look what I've got here today for you. 2004 Toyota RAV4. And look what I've got here in my hand. Original Toyota spark plugs, right? It's an Iridium SK20 R11. Let's go and put them in together in this video. In different video I showed you on this engine how you can quickly inspect at least one of them, right? This airbox is in the way, but it's not covering the number one spark plug. You see the coil here. So that was a quick way to inspect it. Now we will be replacing all of them, so we have to remove that airbox. And of course, ideally, I would like to avoid dealing with the MAF sensor and here the intake pipe which goes to the throttle body. So let's be effective, right? And let's see if we can remove maybe just that front part, right? So this is the box, this is the filter, and let's look right here how much access we will have to the coils and the plugs. My first thing will be remove the whole thing. I have two choices here. I will just pop this bolt, right? And this whole thing goes on the side. Now I move that camcorder as high as possible so you can see the coils and the spark plugs. I'm sure you will agree I have perfect access to the 1, 2, 3, and the 4 is blocked by this piece of steel which holds that airbox. So let's start right now with the one which is still clean from yesterday. And again using 10mm socket, right? Here we go. The bolt is off. I don't have to unhook, right, that coil because this cable is long, and as I will show you, it will give me chance to put the coil nicely, gently on the side. This is one of my best investment in the tools ever. This super long spark plug socket. It's a 5/8 from Snap-on and also locking Snap-on extension. Look at this. And I will never use the power tools on this when I'm removing these, right? Only by the hand because I want to avoid stripping the thread in the head. I'm really cautious about this because that will create a lot of problems. Look, the spark plug is out and we will be ready for the new one. And you are right, the thread is kind of oily, right? And that's a reason that somebody obviously did a valve cover gasket here, right? But they didn't clean the tubes, spark plug tubes, and there is still a remaining oil. I was already cleaning it yesterday and I will clean it a little bit more before putting the new one in. And let's look together on that brand new Iridium spark plug, right? Iridium is special coating on those tips, so you won't be touching that. You will be not adjusting the gap because that will mean you will scrape that precious iridium of the tips. So it will be installed like this. Don't touch this tip. You can always compare the old one with the new one. This one was NGK, which is also approved, but I will always rather put a Denso. So this is my choice, and you can find this number in your owner's manual for this engine. Care about my customers, so I will be not putting the new plug in this tube unless it's polished and all that remainings of that oil, which I'm guessing from the previous, mechanic who didn't clean after himself, will be gone. Then I will be installing brand new plug in here. The whole plug tube is perfectly clean and dry. I'm ready to put the new spark plug in. To prevent or avoid the spark plug being seized in the head of the engine in the future, I will always use very tiny layer on the threads of this copper anti-seize. And I mean really just tiny amount, right? You apply it on the thread, and you of course can't be touching that tip, right? That electrode, no way. And here you can see in detail how little I used, right? I don't want to be squeezing it out, or I don't want it affect my torque, which I will be doing right now. So it's just a little bit, right? And it's ready to go in. Place the spark plug in my special socket, right? The rubber will hold it in nicely. And I'm ready by the hand again, no power tools. I don't want to hit that tip. So you pay attention and by the hand until it stops, right? I'm feeling the thread and the plug is there. And now comes moment of the truth, right? How much torque to put on the spark plug that it's not either loose or it's not over tightened. The manual says, the factory will tell you it's a 19 Newton meters. I just round the number to the 20. It's easy to remember, right, for everybody. And you can't go wrong with one more Newton meter, in my opinion. So I'm using here this torque wrench, right, as you can see. And I will really torque it to that 20. Listen to the sound. That was 20.1. This spark plug was perfectly installed. Now I'm perfectly able to put back the coil, right, which is still attached to this wire harness. This little bolt, right, and carefully using my tool, right, everything is back, and I have installed the spark plug number 1 on this engine. I will continue with these two because they are absolutely identical, and then we will deal with this part which is in our way. I was going to replace these 3 and then continue with the 4th one. Look what I have found on the number 3. This whole coil is completely dirty from some blow-by or something, or it's dry, it's not an oil, it's dry, kind of dust, brown dust. Then I put my wrench inside and look, the plug is basically freely sitting there. Let's see what's going on here. You never know, man, working on the cars, you never know what's going on. Look at this again, there is all that kind of brown, heavy residue, like a brown dust, I will say. Let's go and look closer together in that tube. And of course, in this moment, you are thinking all kinds of scenarios, right? You don't want to have a strip plug in the head. Look at it. Do you see that brown, crazy stuff which is going all the way in? I don't know how to put a light there, and also the camera, but it's all the way in. It's super dirty, like it was blowing maybe by, the gases were blowing by that plug. I will go ahead, clean it, and we will see what I can do here. And how often this happens, right, that you see something like that. Look at that rag. This is all. It will take some time to clean this, right? This is not very common. Normally, you know, these tubes are okay unless the valve cover gaskets are leaking in the tubes. But wow, what's happening here? I don't know, and I'm still hoping that the thread on the spark plug is not stripped. I will be able to torque the new one, right, correctly, and we will have not some problem with the head. So I cleaned inside of the tube as good as I could, right? Here is the new spark plug with that anti-seize. Cross fingers for me right now, and mainly for the owner of the vehicle, that I will be able to correctly torque it, that the spark plug was only loose and the thread is not ripped or stripped. So far it feels very good. If this service today is not the best example why this needs to be done correctly and correctly torque, then I don't know what else is, right? What we are finding here, it's unbelievable, right? Look at it. How much it says? 20.5. This plug is correctly installed. I know there will be no blow-by next to it, right? And this engine will work properly. And trust me, I'm extremely relieved that the thread in the head is good. Now I will have to go clean this as much as possible and install that coil back. And now comes the challenge. These three were nicely exposed here, but the fourth one is underneath this steel, right? That mount. So how we get to it without taking a part of everything and disconnecting and creating headache for ourselves. Let me try right here. That's one of the rubber mounts. See this, another mount, right? There's one more here, but I can also move this first. Now I get access to this one. Now look at it, look at it. The whole thing, that was lucky catch. I have that bolt. The whole thing, right, without disconnecting everything, the whole thing moves enough. I will be able to disconnect this connector, right? So let's see. Just push on the tab. This is disconnected, right? I can push it inside. And now I have a space to move that coil. So yeah, it wasn't the easiest. However, we are still on the good path, right? The coil is coming out. This one, fortunately, right, we don't have more problems. This one doesn't have oil, doesn't have any blow-by, right? This tube seems to be actually in the best shape. No problems, it's clean inside. And I can finally replace the last spark plug. Since there is no oil or blow-by, I'm expecting that this one is correctly torqued. See, the previous one I was able to use just my hand because it was completely loose there. This one, let's see. Yep, this is torqued correctly. The last one was actually correctly torqued. Let's see how it looks. It's coming out, right? No power tools as we discussed. Nice. It's pretty similar like the other ones. And it's also NGK iridium. So all four spark plugs were the same. Yet every single cylinder, right, and the tube was in completely different shape. This service, it's actually very interesting. As I said, you don't see it very often, that each tube there will be happening something else inside. Pretty amazing. Again, the correct torque, right? Have to put it on first, because it always goes in the sleep. It's electronic snap-on torque wrench. So let's hear that. Not yet, it will be probably right now. Oh yeah, that's a 19.9, a little bit more. Oh, here we go. This coil was perfect, no need to clean anything, right? Where is my connector? Right here. Sometimes it's easier to connect it before, but considering the way it is, I will first put the coil in, and now I will connect it. Listen for a click. Heard that, right? That's how these are designed. Now I need a 10mm back, hold the coil down correctly on top of the spark plug, right? As I said, carefully, you don't want to break that plastic. All of them are back. Now I have to install correctly back this steel plate holding right the whole thing. I always recheck everything many times, right? I don't want to be coming back or have some problems on startup, some misfire or something. Clean the stuff as much as I can. This is perfectly right. I'm looking around if I didn't pull something, one of those vacuum hoses and so on, and I will be ready to start putting back this engine air filter. Obviously it's going this way, right, so I can pre-install it here, and I will need to come with the rest of it. And in very beginning of this video we might have thought, oh, another boring video replacing 4 spark plugs. But look how many interesting stuff we discovered just doing this simple service. Pretty amazing, don't you think? And I will be performing more service on this RAV4, so make sure you are subscribed. You don't miss any of those videos in the future. Thanks for watching and have a great day, my friend.